All right. Good morning, everybody. I want to thank everyone for dialing in this morning for this month's Industry 30 with Lutron. Today we have Jeremy Fye with Lutron Electronics. He's the global product manager, and he's going to talk about value-added services and lighting control. Just a few housekeeping items. You all do have the ability to unmute yourselves. So if you have any questions, please feel free to chime in and ask Jeremy any questions you may have. This session is being recorded and will be placed on the chapter's website. So feel free to share this with any employees that you think would get value out of this presentation. If you have any questions, you can use the chat feature or just message me directly. With that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Jeremy. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Rob. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Looks good.
All right, great. All right. So yeah, very much appreciate the warm welcome, Rob, and hello, everybody. Hope you're doing well, and thanks for joining this morning. As Rob stated, my name is Jeremy Fye. I am a global product manager and business development champion with our commercial business team at Lutron Electronics, and we're headquartered in Coopersburg, Pennsylvania. And I'll say over the next 20 or 30 minutes or so, I'm going to be talking to you about global or value-added services in lighting control. And just a little bit of background on Lutron. So we're a company largely known for the manufacture of high-quality lighting, lighting controls, and shading solutions. Our company was established in 1961, shortly after our founder, Joel Spira, invented the solid-state dimmer. And the solid-state dimmer really was a revolutionary development during that time period, largely because it established a means to have more control of the environment in which we lived and worked in. But the idea of the dimmer had a very practical means as well. Now, they, of course, save energy. So the more that you use them, the more energy they saved you. And with the ever rising cost of energy, Joel Spira believed that the energy saving aspects of this invention would really ensure the long-term appeal of lighting controls. And it really seems as though he was onto something there, because over the past 60 plus years, Lutron has been innovating lighting control products for the residential and commercial markets with solutions that scale from a single control for a single space to large-scale systems in prominent residences and major commercial installations all around the world. So as far as today's agenda is concerned, we'll take a moment to review a lot of the challenges that we've been facing together in the electrical industry as of late. And then from there, we'll get into the specifics and benefits of how wireless lighting controls not only help to address those problems, but also to help you to continue building your business and adding value to your clients. And then on top of adding value, we'll then bring to light some of the resources that are available from manufacturers like Lutron that can help to aid in the design, install, and commission of wireless lighting controls. And then finally, we'll wrap things up by closing with a Q&A section at the end. Rob kind of covered this already in terms of logistics. Throughout the presentation, feel free to type those questions in the chat box or reach out to him directly, and we'll definitely try to address them as we go. But certainly, if we don't get that to all of them directly during the presentation, we'll certainly be answering them at the end. So if we look at a lot of what comes down to the reality of creating commercial buildings, whether that's new constructions, retrofits, renovations, any of those types of projects, there are a lot of challenges that we are currently facing in the electrical industry today. So let me first begin with the good news. I'd say the good news is that despite the economic headwinds that we've been facing recently, the construction outlook continues to be strong and the electrical industry is still very busy. Now, of course, this doesn't come without significant challenges. I'm sure, if I'm not mistaken when I say this, that I'm sure everyone here is very well of the ongoing supply chain disruptions that have been going on, the increased operating and material costs. And of course, one of the most important assets is, a shortage in skilled labor. There is certainly more demand for skilled labor now more than ever before. So much so that the Associated Builders and Contractors published an article just last year stating that the construction industry needed to attract nearly 650,000 additional skilled workers nationwide on top of the normal hiring pace in 2022 and 2023 just to meet the demand for labor. And in a world where skilled labor certainly isn't easy to come by, sorry, jumped ahead there. In a world where skilled labor certainly isn't easy to come by, it goes without saying that the pressure to have enough people to get the job will be continue to be a factor. We also continue to see faster timelines. Years ago, we had a lot more time to complete a job, and every year it seems to get tighter and tighter in terms of the calendar time from the beginning of the project to the end. And at the same time, there's more changes and uncertainty throughout that project process. More of these projects are being design build, or they're being done with partially incomplete documents. And then there's just a lot more that are being required from people, right? Whether it's the energy codes that are creating a need for lighting control in spaces where we didn't need it before, or customers are just expecting more from their building in terms of the personalization, the data, the ability to integrate to other building systems, the ability to create that welcoming environment for the people that are working, learning, or healing in those spaces. And I'll say that's a good summary of the challenges that we're facing in the industry today. But they also create an opportunity for us to take advantage of those trends and really grow despite those challenges. All right, so now that I've kind of laid out our major challenges, let's take a moment and discuss how wireless lighting control solutions can address those problems, and also to help you grow your business and become more profitable. Now, if we refer back to the challenges and pain points that I addressed on the previous slide, the wireless lighting control helps us to address those issues in three main categories: less risk, saves time, and flexible, scalable. And in general, these are meant to say they allow your people to work smarter, not harder. Now, we all know how to work hard here, right? And every contractor I've met in the field works extremely hard. But when we can work smarter by saying, hey, with these types of products, they can install faster. They allow us to overcome all the unexpected things on a job that are inevitable in terms of coming up along the way. And they allow us to do more with less. Those are the types of things that can really address those challenges and pain points, allowing us to not only manage labor effectively and efficiently, but to also increase profitability. So when it comes to less design risk, there's two trains of thought here. First and foremost, one of the main advantages of wireless lighting control is that it's inherently simple to design and install. And that's because there are very basic, fundamental building blocks when it comes to designing a system. And with just a handful of components, you essentially have everything you need to complete the job. And of course, because it's wireless communication between devices within that system, there are ultimately fewer wires that need to be pulled. And on top of that, we don't have to worry about the hassle of creating a complex design or having to make critical design decisions due to different wiring complexities. Now, the second train of thought here is that it also helps you adapt with the job. And I'm sure we've all been in a situation like this more than a few times, where you're almost done with a job, the customer's getting ready to move in, and we say, uh-oh, we forgot a control right next to the door that's needed for code. And in that situation, we're going to have to get all our ladders back out. We're going to pop the ceiling tiles, get all those additional tools to run a three-way switch over to that other location. And this could take hours to install. That could, certainly incorporate a lot of needless work, certainly a lot more mess that needs to be cleaned up. And this is all happening while the customer is potentially trying to move in. So instead of doing that, with wireless technology, you can literally stick a wireless control right on the wall, and you can even do this without having to install a back box. Because with no wires to install, you typically just have an adapter that sits behind it that makes it look like a traditional wall control that you could just stick about anywhere. It's literally just a few drywall screws, slide that device into the adapter, pop on the faceplate, and we can walk away and the job's done. And I'd argue that with the cost of wire nowadays, it's likely a ton cheaper simply to just buy a wireless wall control, let alone all the additional cost of labor and all the interruptions that we're introducing to the job here. So as you can see here, they're installing that wireless control on the wall, no need for a back box, super simple to do. So not only is this done much quicker, there's less material and less mess like I already talked about, but it should be worth noting that a scenario like this, like the one that I just described, showcases why wireless is really a great opportunity for retrofits because of its adaptability, which in my opinion really isn't talked about enough. So I'd argue that being simple to design and install, as well as being able to easily adapt to the job, inherently implies that we can save time. But let's talk about some other ways wireless lighting control can help us here. And, we've done a lot of research in trying to understand this. We've gone on the job sites with electricians and just observed, and what we've been able to learn is that wireless lighting control simply saves time. And in some cases, it actually can install up to 70% faster than a traditional wired solution. So that really gives a lot of time back to focus on other things, either within the building or allow us to focus on other jobs. So as you can see in this video, we did a side-by-side comparison of the same electrician installing a wired and wireless control solution. I'll just go ahead and jump to a spoiler alert here. It only took 12 minutes to complete the wireless installation, while it took a whopping 72 minutes to complete that wired installation. So we're talking a lot less time to install the wireless gear because there's additional work that needs to get done with traditional wired solutions. We got to get up to the ceiling more often. We need to run all that additional communication wire, and ultimately there's a bunch more times up and down on that ladder. And as you may recall from a few slides back, we discussed how wireless lighting control is very simple to design and install, but it's also worth noting that it's very simple to deploy as well. We can save a significant amount of time when it comes to setup and programming. And especially if you have employees who are either tech savvy, really into programming, or if you have a service arm to your business, this is something that you can take on yourself. There's no need to get the manufacturer out to the job site to perform this work. That's all completely optional. And once all the gear is installed, whether that's your people or the manufacturer, it's literally just a few additional steps to associate wireless controls together. You just push a button on that load controller for a few seconds, and then you go over to that wall control or aux sensor and push a button for a few seconds. Literally, it's done. And we can make it actually even easier than that. And the way that we make it easier is by adding what we call centralized intelligence to the system. And doing so pulls all these different wireless devices together into a system and enables to make setup and programming even faster by using a step-by-step guided programming interface. So instead of having to go back on the ladder and press a button on the load controller, now we can just stay on the floor, use a smart device that we likely already have with us on the job site to configure everything. We just press a button on that wall controller aux sensor for a few seconds, and then we go ahead, we select the loads that we wanted to control, configure some of the device settings, and then essentially we're done. And now we have an entire building that we can view, we can control, monitor, and make adjustments all right from our fingertips. So this is a really neat and interesting case study about a job that popped up back in 2020 during the initial peak of COVID in New York City. So as you likely remember, there was a very high demand for hospital beds during this time. It was certainly an unprecedented time, and not much information was available. And Lutron was approached about this job. It was a hyper fast timeline due to the situation. It was a 5-story building. And we led in with wireless controls because we knew it was going to save the most time. And that project was designed, ordered, shipped to the job site, installed, and programmed in 18 days. So that's less than 3 weeks time from start to finish. And as you can see, the comment here from Daniel Ford down in the kind of in the middle section of the slide here, she was the senior electrical engineer on the project. And literally she said, you know, she had a meeting 1 week, and then that next week the gear was already installed. So yeah, definitely a really nice story during, you know, a time when things weren't exactly very nice. But more importantly, it really goes to show how wireless lighting controls can really save time, even in the tightest of timelines. So if you'd like to read more on this case study, you can simply go to www.lutron.com/Bronx. Now, the final benefit that I want to talk quickly about is flexible, scalable. Okay. And with wireless lighting control, it is extremely flexible and scalable. It allows us to start small and do something as simple as, say, a single office space, but we can do an entire floor or even multiple floors or even an entire building. So it really gives us the opportunity to work at the demand of our clients. You know, take for example, you know, say people are moving in and out of a building and the owner wants to retrofit their space to more modern controls on the fly. So when that office becomes vacant, we can quickly go in and do that space. Or perhaps a client is moving out of an entire floor. We can very quickly, in like a week or so, do that entire floor with wireless controls and get the space leased back out as quickly as possible so that we're saving our clients money. And you can do that with multiple floors at a time or even entire buildings. So it's super quick and adaptable. And because wireless is, you know, flexible, scalable, and adaptable, it allows the system to grow over time. Now, one of the challenges that we've seen with lighting control systems of the past is that you kind of have to know what you want up front to know whether it's sized properly for the features. And wireless lighting control really just isn't that way. You can take one room at a time, do a wireless installation, and with just a few components, and then it's running on its own. Then if you want to go ahead and add another room, you add another room and that's running on its own. And you can almost build this almost like stacking Lego blocks, you know, essentially one on top of each other. You know, each room is simple and you can really build it up to an entire building or even an entire campus for that matter, where you can manage multiple floors or multiple buildings from a single user interface with real actionable information. And you can go at your own pace. You know, if you're doing it in terms of retrofit, do it one room at a time. If you're doing it in terms of like a tenant fit out, do one floor at a time. You know, if you're doing a whole building, you can knock it all out at one shot. And it really allows you to build as quickly or as slowly as your budget, your needs, or your customer allows. Now, when it comes to wireless lighting control solutions, this is Vive. You know, Lutron's simple, scalable, and flexible, you know, wireless solution intended for commercial installations. And what you see here is the overall topology of the Vive system, you know, all the parts and pieces that go to it. So on the left-hand side, you can see you have a variety of different devices. You know, starting from the top down, we have wireless remotes. We commonly refer to them as Picos. We also have wireless occupancy, vacancy, and daylight sensors to help achieve code compliant designs. And then we also have load controllers, ones that are intended to dim or switch lighting, that are intended to be installed either in the ceiling or on the wall. We also have plug load controllers. And then we also have integrated fixture control. And this is a type of device that's built directly into the fixture at an OEM manufacturer. So all you need to do is install the fixture and hook up power, and it's essentially Vive ready. Now, the final component that you see here towards the center of the architecture diagram is what we call the Vive Wireless Hub, where we consider that centralized intelligence for the system. You know, but it should be worth noting that this is not necessarily needed for installation of functions, actually optional. However, it does unlock more features like building integration via BACnet or API, you know, demand response capabilities if you need that to meet code, the ability to schedule time clock events, see real-time data about the building, of course, that step-by-step programming, guided programming with a smart device, either using an app, you know, or web interface, as you can see here towards the right-hand side of your screen, okay? So the way the system is made up is you can see all these lines here that are, blue dotted lines, meaning that they're using wireless technology to communicate back and forth. And you'll see that the Vive Wireless Hub has essentially two ways of communicating wirelessly as well. First, it can communicate via what we call Lutron Clear Connect technology, and that's being used for that inter-system interaction between devices. But it can also communicate via Wi-Fi for either that initial setup and programming, as well as post setup control and monitoring with any smartphone or smart device. All right, so for the final portion of this webinar, and before we draw things to a close, let's quickly talk about the various value-added services that are available from manufacturers to help in the design, install, and commission of wireless lighting controls. Now, the first group is what I'll call design tools and resources. And these are designed and available to help make using wireless lighting control even easier for you. And the first item on our left here is what I'll refer to as design software. So for Lutron, what we have is called Lutron Designer Plus, and Lutron Designer Plus gives you the capability to complete a more detailed design with built-in rules, that you can do either on your own or as necessary, you can do working directly with your agency rep. With this tool, you can import floor plans, you can drag and drop different wireless devices, make those wireless connections, and ultimately generate the submittal documents needed for your job. Documents like one-line diagrams, bill of materials reports, control intent reports, spec submittal links, and a whole host of other types of reports. And this is all offered as a direct download and free of charge. Now, when it comes to code compliance, every manufacturer has code resources specific to their lighting controls. And one of the ways that Lutron approaches designing to code compliance is through code application guides. And these guides help making designing to even the most stringent energy codes very simple and easy. They provide an easy to understand summary of the code requirements, as well as an assortment of examples of how lighting controls like Vive can be used to meet and exceed code in a variety of different applications. And then every manufacturer has training resources. And for Lutron, we offer free on-demand training. In this training portal, it includes a bevy of different training courses and content, with topics ranging from the basics of lighting control and dimming technology to advanced lighting control practices, to information on all of our commercial lighting control solutions. And further to that, and not necessarily shown here, but I felt it was worth noting, but most manufacturers also have videos to provide more details on how their products work together, how they're installed, how they're programmed. And believe it or not, YouTube is actually a great place to find this information. Many manufacturers have YouTube channels already set up and neatly organized into playlists with really short bite-sized videos on a variety of different products and systems. And then finally, there are a variety of other resources available at your disposal. There's newsletters out there that you can sign up for. And this is really a great way to stay up to date with all the latest trends in lighting control, to learn new tips and to read new product news that is specifically designed and tailored to you. And beyond that, there are various landing pages on websites that contain product level information from things like brochures and catalogs to provide that higher level of detail. But we also offer things like spec sheets that offer that more detailed level of information. And the key takeaway here is that all of these are available to you and can be used to your advantage to help you either grow your knowledge base, but also ultimately ensure that you are successful on the job. And of course, once again, they're all free. So really, take advantage of them. Now, as we discussed, lighting control systems are designed so that you can lay them out, install them, start them up on your own without any without any need for the manufacturer or a factory representative to be present. However, if you do not want to start the system up on your own, or simply want a little help starting up a system, manufacturers will have you covered with service options that support your needs. So just a few examples of how Lutron handles that. Once again, you could do it yourself, where the customer doesn't have to pay the manufacturer for startup. You can leave this setup to us. In that case, the customer pays for full scope manufacturer startup on the bill of material, and we'll come out and commission the system for them. But if you need something in between, you can certainly talk to us, and we're here to help. We have things like remote service to help you when you either get stuck, whether that's over the phone or virtually connecting to the system while you're commissioning. And they're designed to be cost effective and to really help you get off the job effectively and efficiently. And then finally, it's important to know that when you're working with different equipment in the field, you have a manufacturer is going to provide you with product that you trust. So for Lutron, we certainly understand this, and this is why we 100% of the product that we manufacture are end of line tested. So that means that any product that's leaving our factory, we know is going to work for you. And if for any reason you do have questions, concerns, or issues, you can pick up the phone and call us at any time. We have call centers located all around the United States, and we're actually here for you 24/7 with our technical support line. We understand that taking customer is paramount, and with any company that you're working with, you need someone that provides you that level of support to give you that peace of mind. All right, so just to recap here, I think I'm getting pretty close to time, Rob. But we talked about the various challenges facing the electrical industry today, from a demand for more skilled labor to faster timelines of projects, more changes and uncertainty on those projects, and ultimately the increased requirements from either codes or our customers. But also, why wireless control, right? Well, not only does it help you meet those energy codes, but it also installs much faster than a traditional wired solution, helping you get save time to get off the job quicker and do more with less. And because there's less design risk involved, it also allows you to overcome those unexpected things on jobs that are inevitable in terms of coming up along the way. And then, of course, it really just works. Wireless lighting control is a proven technology. And for Lutron, we've been doing wireless lighting control for over 25 years. With over 10 million wireless systems, not products, but systems deployed around the world. And then finally, wireless lighting control manufacturers like Lutron can help you to provide added value beyond just lighting controls, from tools like design software and application guides to on-demand training with instructional videos, as well as YouTube, to a variety of additional informational resources. And then, of course, those service and support offerings that I just talked about. If you'd like any more information specifically on Vive, Lutron's premier wireless lighting control solution, you can certainly go to www.lutron.com/Vive. So at this point, what I'll first and foremost say is, thank you for attending, for your time and attention this morning. At this point, I think it would be a good opportunity to open things up for Q&A.
All right, great. Thank you, Jeremy. Everyone has the ability to unmute themselves. So if anyone has a question, please speak up or just use the chat feature. Hearing none, while you all think of questions, just want to give a plug for our April 6th Industry 30 with Atcore. It's going to be on the latest in armored and MC cable innovation. So you all should have received an invitation for that. So please consider signing up, and hopefully we'll see you in April. Jeremy, not hearing any questions, but really just want to thank you for your time. And if anyone would like the presentation or contact information, we'd be happy to share that with you. And with that being said, you kept it right to 30 minutes. So thank you for that.
Perfect.
And I hope
kept true to my word, Rob.
You sure did. Thank you so much. And thanks everybody for hopping on, and everyone have a great day. Thanks.